Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shiur.
Shalom and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi Shabbos Daf Lamed Beis. One Lamed Aleph Amud Beis, 5 lines from the bottom. Says the Mishnah, Al Shalosh Averos, due to transgressing 3 Averos. Noshem Mesos B'Shas Leidos, women may die during childbirth. It is a dangerous, precarious moment, and the einish, the retribution for these Averos, are applied during those moments. What are they? What are these 3 Averos? Al she'enan zehiros, on account of not being careful. Benida b'chala v'laksaner, on account of them disregarding, neglecting the mitzvah of nida, mitzvah of chala, separating the portion of dough for the kohen, ubadlaka saner, kindling the ner Shabbos. Says the Gemara, nida my timer. Why does the aver of nida end up with such a einish of dying during childbirth? Says the Gemara, Amar Yitzchak, it is for the following reason. It is midah connected midah, measure for measure. When she neglects the mitzvah of nida, he kilkel b'chadrei bitna, she rebels with the chambers of her womb. Lefichach, therefore, midah connected midah tilka b'chadrei bitna, she will suffer retribution in the chambers of her womb during childbirth. Says Martinach nida. Okay, I understand regarding nida. Chalav adlakasaner ma'ikala meimar. What about the other 2? Why do they end up with such a type of einish? Says the Gemara, Kededora shahu glila, just like this person from Galil was darshan al leder of Chizah. So he says this drasha in front of Chizah to explain the parallel between all these 3 concepts of nida, chala, and adlakasaner to the life of a person. Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem says, Revi'is dam nasati b'chem, I've put a revi'is, a small measure of blood into you. This is the minimum amount of dam required for a person to survive. So I've put dam into you. Al iske dam, his harti eschem. And parallel to that, I've warned you, I've cautioned you on matters of dam, to maintain the halachas of nida properly. So we see that the dam, the life of a person, depends, is paralleled, corresponds to mitzvahs nida. What about chala? Reishis karasi eschem. I've called you Reishis. As Rashi says, Reishis tuvuasai. Klal Yisrael is considered to be Reishis, the first, the most prominent. Al iske Reishis, his harti eschem. I've cautioned you in matters regarding Reishis, which is Reishis Arisoi Seichem, Rashi says, referring to the first of the dough, the challah that's meant to be given to the kohen. So we see once again that the concept of challah parallels the very essence of Klal Yisrael. Finally, neshama shenasati bochem kuriya ner. The neshama that I've put into you is called with the term ner, ner Hashem nishmas adam. And parallel to that, I've cautioned you, I've instructed you, al iske ner, his harti eschem. I've cautioned you to be careful in matters of ner, of adlakas ner Shabbos. Therefore, he concluded, im atem mekayim oisam mutaf. If you indeed fulfill, adhere to all these things, you safeguard nida, chala, and adlakas ner properly, mutav, then good. V'im lav, but otherwise, haredi noitel nishmaschem, I will take away your neshama by neglecting these 3 types of mitzvahs, nida, chala, and adlakas ner, which are parallel to the person's life. Marsha says they are connected to 3 portions of a person: nefesh, that's the nida; ruach, that's chala; and adlakas ner, and adlakas ner is connected to neshama. So these 3 things parallel all aspects of the person's life. Therefore, if you maintain them, then fine, but otherwise you neglect them, it parallels the nefesh, and one is liable to lose his life on that account. So we understand why all 3 are so crucially important, and one is liable to incur death as a result of neglecting them. Says the Gemara, but why exactly, specifically during the time of childbirth? Amar Rava, there's a common saying, Nafal Tura, so once the ox has already fallen down, so Chadad l'sakina, simply sharpen the knife and quickly slaughter him. So you don't need to go put him down and throw him down on the floor again. And the mashal here is that during childbirth, when the woman is in a weakened state, as is, and her mazel becomes weakened, that is a time that the Puranas, the Einish, is liable to arrive as well. Abaye Amar, there's a different common saying as follows: Tafish tiras amsa. So the amsa, the maiden, increased. Tafish increases her tiras, her rebellion, and she does wrong. So they don't punish her individually for each offense. Rather, they bundle it all together. Bechad machatarta lihavi. Let it be all bundled together in one with one hitting of the rod. So as Rashi explains, that the entire experience, the difficult experience of childbirth for a woman, is as a result of the chet of Chava. This was the Einish Hashem gave to Chava on account of her feeding on the Rishon, the Eitz Hadas. So once the woman experiences the Einish on one account, so it is a time that everything's bundled together, and in heaven they apply retribution, Einish, for other Averis as well, all bundled together. So indeed the time of childbirth is the time where she's liable to incur Einish for other Averis as well. Rav Chizda Amar, there's actually another saying which goes as follows: Shafke l'Ravya, leave the drunkard alone when he falls. The menafshi nafel, he'll fall on his own. Meaning you don't have to throw him down. By default, he'll end up on the floor. Here too explains Rashi: when a woman conceives, is muberes, the natural state of things is that she'll be in danger. She needs rachmanis, she needs mercy to be applied to her, in order to open the rechem, the womb, and allow the childbirth process to proceed successfully. She needs rachmanis for that. So, on account of these averis, of neglecting nidachal and dakas haner, in heaven they simply need to withhold that rachmanis, and by default, she's in grave danger and is liable for death. Marukva, there's another saying: Raya chigra. So we have a crippled shepherd who can't seem to run after his naughty goats. So how's he going to catch up to them to punish them? Ve'izi ratan and they're running away. So he's going to wait patiently above chutra mili. When he gets to the gate of the pen, then he'll have his word with them. Va'abei dori chushpana, and at the gate of the corral, he'll reckon with them. He'll already punish them. Here too, when an Isha ordinarily is living her life and she's not in danger, she may have many schusim that protect her from Einish. However, when she gets to the point of sakana, the point of danger, the precarious moment of childbirth, that is as man sakana, at that point she needs some miracles to protect her and to keep her healthy. Therefore, that is the time that they reckon with her averis. They remember the misdeeds, and they judge her whether or not she's worthy of Hashem's protection and miracles. Rav Papa Amar, there's actually another saying that goes as follows: Abav chanva asa, in front of the store where they're handing out food generously, nefishi achi umarachmi. There's an abundance of brothers, umarachmi, and friends. Lots of brothers and friends. Everybody seems to be in a good mood, good disposition, on account of the abundance of supplies. Abav bizyuni, at the gate of bizyuni, of poverty and hefsid, a place where where the supplies are lacking. It's poor. Things are supplies are short. At that point, there's no brothers and friends anymore. So when things are going well, people are in a good mood. When things are difficult and the poverty is prevalent, then this mood changes. There's no more brotherhood and friendship. Here too says Rashi, when things are going well for the woman, then she has protection. Malachim come and protect her. But when things are difficult, when she's a shasa sakana, a time of danger, her mazel weakens, and her advocates in Shamayim don't come forth to protect her and to testify on her behalf. Okay, so we understand why the Mishnah tells us that on account of three averis, nidachal and dakas haner, which are critical to maintenance of one's life, why on account of those averis she is liable to suffer during childbirth, since that is a dangerous moment, a precarious moment, and perhaps from his deeds will be remembered then, and retribution will be applied. Says the Gemara, okay, so that's for women. Now, as Rashi points out, why a nashim responsible for, we understand why nida, but what about chala dakas haner? Why is that specifically applied to nashim? Says Rashi, because tzarchi habayis, tluim. Generally, the tzrachim of the home, the domestic needs, are the woman's responsibility, and therefore these things of challah, which is during the dough making process, kindling of the light, these are domestic things, and they fall within her domain and within her responsibility. Continues the Gemara. V'gavri heicham yivdeki. When are men checked out? When are they examined? When in heaven do they examine the misdeeds of men? Omer Shlakish b'shah she'ivir malagesha. When they pass over the bridge, which is a shasa sakana, so in Shemayim, at that point, they judge them whether or not they're worthy of protection. Says more gesher v'suloy, only at that type of situation of a gesher, of a bridge. Any situation which is akin to crossing a bridge, any dangerous moment, any makam sakana, actually says kigain kirnatui, like when one passes underneath a leaning wall, or b'yotzei l'derech, he's going out traveling on the road. That is a shasa sakana, and at that point in Shamayim, they examine him and they make a cheshbon whether he's indeed worthy of divine protection. Continues the Gemara, Rav loy avar b'mavra, he refused to go on a ferry, the yasabei akum, where a guy was present. Why? Amar dilma mifked le dinale. Perhaps the judgment from heaven will be applied to him, to the guy, to punish him when he's on the ferry. Umatfisn ba'dei, and I'll be seized along with him. So he didn't want to be with the akum, with the nachri, in the same boat. Shmuel, says the Gemara, just the opposite. Shmuel avar ela b'mavra deis b'yakum. He insisted on only going on a ferry when there was a guy present. Why? Amar, he said as follows: Sitna, the Satan, the Malach HaMavis, betray umi lo shalat. He doesn't have power to go ahead and apply judgment to harm two nations at once. He's only sent to do one at a time. So if we're together in the boat, the Yid and the Goy, the Satan won't have any power to harm us. Rav Yani Badek Vavar. Rav Yani would inspect the boat to see if it was safe, and only then would he go on the boat. Rav Yani al-Tamei followed his opinion. A person should never place himself in a makam sakana, place of danger, and rely and say, surely they'll do a miracle for me, they'll protect me. Shema, perhaps they won't do that for you. And if indeed he'll merit an ace, it's not worth it. They'll deduct from his merits. So a person is not meant to place himself initially knowingly in a makam sakana. Don't take a chance. Amar Reb Chanan Mikra. Where is this concept that when they do a nes for a person, it can deduct from his chusim? Where is this sourced in the pasuk? The pasuk says as follows: So Yaakov Avinu said, I became small, my chusim, my merits became diminished on account of a result of kol hachasadim and the emes that you've done to me. Rav Zera, b'yoyim b'deshusa, on a day of a strong southerly wind, he didn't go between the palm trees for fear that the strong wind will knock them down. Amar Rav Yitzchak b'ed Rav Yudah, la'olam yivakish adam rachman. A person should always seek to ask rachmanis, shelo yechle, that he should not fall ill. So when he's healthy, he should daven and say, Rafa'enu Hashem v'nirafe Hashem, protect my health, maintain my refuah. I should not get sick. Why? She'im yechle, because indeed if he does fall ill, he gets sick, that's already a point of judgment. Apparently he's being judged. Then they tell him, go bring a schus, go show your merit and extricate yourself from this situation. So initially, preferably one should not arrive at that situation should daven to Hashem to protect him from illness in the first place. Omar Mayukmar Ukfa. Mikra, where is this concept sourced? Ki yipal ha'neifel mimenu. The pasuk says that the neifel, if the neifel will fall mimenu, and we make a drasha, mimenu lavi raya. So if the neifel, meaning a person falls, he falls ill, he gets sick, mimenu lavi raya, he needs to bring a raya from himself, from his own deeds, from his own schusim, his own merits, to absolve himself from this difficult situation, to get himself out of this chayli. Tanadei Bishmal, another drasha from this pasuk of Ki yipal ha'neifel mimenu, roizeh lipol m'sheish me'bereshis. Truthfully speaking, this person, the pasuk here is speaking about a homeowner who is obligated to erect a makkah, a fence, around his roof. Why? So that nobody should fall off the roof. Because if he doesn't have a makkah, a fence, ki yipal ha'neifel mimenu, the neifel, the one who falls, will fall off the roof. Says Rabbi Shmuel, Tanei Rabbi Shmuel, if we take a closer look at the wording of this pasuk, we find something very interesting. The pasuk says, Ki yipal ha'neifel mimenu. The neifel, the faller, will fall off the roof. But he hasn't yet fallen. Why is the pasuk referring to the person who is falling as a faller? Indeed, this pasuk is indicating a very powerful message. Ro'izeh, this person who actually fell off the roof, he was predestined. It was pre-planned. Ro'izeh, lipol m'sheish me'bereshis. He was indeed destined to fall off the roof this was already pre-planned from the beginning of creation. Hashem knew what was going to happen throughout all the Doros, their deeds, their misdeeds, and the ancient, the retributions that they will incur as a result of their avarice. Hashem knew that this person was meant to fall off the roof. Why? Sharein lo nafal. He hasn't yet fallen. V'akasav karei neifel. The Torah is telling the homeowner, look, quickly get the makkah up there. Why? So that nobody falls off the roof. If you don't, the neifel will fall off the roof. So speaking before the event. Why does the Torah refer to this person as the neifel? It gives him a title of a neifel. Apparently, he's destined, he's meant to fall off the roof. So the question is, why is this homeowner responsible for that? Why do I have to put up a makkah on my roof? If this person is anyways meant to fall off the roof, why am I coming to protect him? Why am I chayiv to make a fence? The Torah is teaching us a profound lesson. Ella shemegalgal schus l'yidei zakai. Because in heaven they bring about schus, a good thing, al yidei zakai, through a righteous person. V'choiva, and something bad, al yidei chayiv, through a guilty person. Meaning that yes, indeed, this person is destined to fall or not to fall, but that's on a different track. That's not your business. You as a homeowner are responsible. And if you don't make a mark on your roof and a person falls off the roof, you are held responsible. They are megalgal. They bring about something negative, a tragic event, through a chayav, through a person who is guilty. You're considered to be a guilty person, since your action or inaction brings about this chayva. So once again, there are two tracks here. Truthfully, as far as Shemayim is concerned, as far as Hashem is concerned, this is meant to happen regardless. But Hashem is obligating us to conduct our life according to the mitzvahs of the Torah, according to the obligations of the Torah. We're meant to protect our roof. And if we neglect to do so, we're placing people in danger. And if somebody falls off the roof, the homeowner is responsible for that. The Ein Yaakov points out the same thing in the reverse, on the positive side of things. They attribute the good thing to the righteous person. So if a person does erect the makkah and it prevents somebody from falling off the roof, the schus, the fact that he protected this person and prevented harm, this schus is attributed to this person. Although you may argue, well, it was meant to be, it was bashet, it was ashkacha pratis. This person was never meant to fall off the roof. Why does the homeowner get a schus, a merit as a result? No, the pasuk is telling us this schus is attributed. This good thing is meant came about through you. Since you followed the mitzvahs HaTorah, you came through with your obligation. You erected the makkah as the Torah instructed you to do. By doing so, you protected this person from harm, and this protection, this schus, is attributed to the zakai, to the righteous person who indeed followed the mitzvah of the Torah and created his makkah. Tana Rabbanan, we learned in the Brayso, Misha Chala, one who fell ill, V'nata Lamas, and he's leaning towards death. Oimrim La Yisvada, they tell him to confess, say vidui on your averis. Shekein Kol HaMumsim Isvadim, that is the custom, that is the derech for all those that are dying. They say vidui. This cleanses them of their averis and merits them a great portion of Olam Haba. The Brisa continues, Adam Yetzel Ashuk, one who simply goes out to the marketplace, it's a dangerous place, and you should view it with seriousness. He should view it as if he was given over to the officer, as if he was arrested, as if he's being judged. Actually says the marketplace is full of all kinds of people who are quarreling and fighting, and it's a makam sakana. It's somewhat of a makam sakana. And therefore, when a person simply walks out to the marketplace, he should view it with the utmost seriousness, as if he's being judged now in heaven, whether he's going to merit divine protection. If a person has pain in his head, this is already a step further. Apparently, this is an indication that they are judging him more seriously in heaven. It should appear in his eyes as if he was placed in chains. And indeed, he needs schusim to get him out of that situation. So he should conduct himself accordingly. He should be ma'ir rachmanis. He should look to perform good deeds, to extricate himself, to get himself out of the situation. Allah lamita v'nafal. He went up to the bed and falls ill. That's actually a more serious state of things. It should appear in his eyes, as if he was brought up to the scaffold. That's the place where they judge people on very serious offenses, and they are liable to be put to death. So he should view himself accordingly. A person who finds himself in that situation, he needs a lot of protectors. If he has serious, powerful advocates that are testifying to his innocence, Nitzel, he will be protected and saved. But otherwise, Nitzel, he will not be saved. What are the advocates of a person for Bezin Shamala to be Zoicha Bedin, to earn the divine mercy and protection? It is Tshuva U'Masam Tovim. So a person is meant to pay attention to his situation. Whenever he finds himself in a precarious moment, in Makam Sakana, if it's Chayli, etc., he's meant to view it with utmost seriousness. Do tshuva, do ma'asam tovim, to earn and merit divine protection. So continues the Gemara. Even if he has 999 malachim who testify to his guilt, and merely one, this is the 1,000th malach, Malamad of Schus, testifies on his behalf, Nitzal, this will be enough to protect him and to save him. Shenemar, Imesh olav malach, melis echad mini elef. If he merely has one of 100, that is melitz, that is coming to testify on his behalf, lahagid yashoi, to proclaim and say regarding the person's righteousness, this will save him from death. Not only if we have a whole malach that's protecting him, afilu teisha meis v'tisha ba'oisei malach l'chayva. So we have a malach here that is actually testifying to his guilt, but there's one little portion in this malach which is advocating for him. So we have 999 portions of this malach l'chayva for his guilt, ve'echad l'schus, and only one little portion, 1,000th of this malach which is testifying on his behalf, l'schus, nitzel, that will be enough to save him. Shenemar, meles echad mini elef. Rashi explains that the word echad here applies not to the malach, that there's one malach, one complete malach protecting him, but even if in this malach itself, there's only one part, echad mini elef, one of 1,000 in this malach, that is advocating on his behalf, that is enough to save him. Now, how do we understand this Gemara? We know that the mitzvahs create the favorable malachim that come and protect him. The averis, they're the ones that create the malachim who declare his guilt. So how can we find that in the malach of guilt, the malach that is declaring his chayv, which is apparently created through an avera, how do we find that there should be some element of melitz yosher there? So once heard a very interesting pshat that true he did an avera, but in an avera itself, there's some elements of schus. Well, the malach will say, look, I was created through his avera, but I know that there was some element of guilt, of remorse. He didn't really want to do it, etc., etc. There's some sort of positive angle even in the avera itself. There's an element of schus, even if it's 1 part of 1,000. Apparently that's enough to save the person in din. Continues the Gemara, Tana Rabbanan learned in the Brayso. Al shalosh averis, nosha mesis yoldos. Due to 3 averis, women died during childbirth, as we said in the Mishnah. Reb Lezer Omer, he had a different version. An account of those 3 averis, nosha mesis yaldos. They died prematurely young. Reb Acha Omer, the death comes as a result on account of the women washing the clothing of the children that was dirty with their tzayah. So they did a malach on Shabbos, and that is the avera which brings about this einish. Some say on a different avera. They relate to the Aron HaKodesh in the Beis HaKnesses with a disrespectful term. Arna. This is the Aramaic term for a chest. So they don't accord the Aron HaKodesh in the Beis HaKnesses the proper covet. Tanya b'Shmuel ben Elazar Omer, ba'avoy shnei dvarim, due to 2 averis, amei ha'rotzes meis, and the unlearned people died. Al shekeren la'Aron HaKodesh Arna, like we just said. Number 2, al shekeren Beis HaKnesses. They refer to the Beis HaKnesses, Beis Am, a place for the people, for the multitudes. It's a community center. So on account of that, they suffer the einish. Tanya Beis Shloisha Bitke Misa Nivr B'Isha. There were 3 Bitke Misa, 3 inspectors of death. These are the 3 averis that we're going to mention here. The Nidachal Dokasaner. They are 3 inspectors, because due to these averis, the Isha is inspected and judged during the time of sakana, during the time of childbirth. So this Gersa said Bitke. V'amrilo shleisha divke misa. What is divke misa? The gluing, the attachment, meaning that it can bring about a premature death. What are these three things that bring about this result? Nida v'chalav d'ksaner. So we have Bitke misa, which relates to childbirth, and we have divke misa, meaning premature death. Says more, indeed this corresponds to what we learned earlier in the Brayso before. We had a machlekes between the Tanakama and Reb Lezer regarding the Nida Chal Daksaner. According to the Tanakama, Nosha Meisas Yoldos, during childbirth. Reb Lezer says Meisas Yaldos, die young. So indeed these 2 terms of Bitke and Divke correspond to that. Chada Reb Lezer, the term Divke, which indicates premature death, is in accordance with the Shita of Reb Lezer, who says Nosha Meisas Yaldos, prematurely. And the term Shleitcha Bitke Misa, indicating during childbirth, this is consistent with Rabbanan, who say that these 3 averas bring about retribution during childbirth. Tanya of Shingam Leil Omer, Hilchais Hegdish, Trumas Maisros, the halachas of Hegdish, of being Magdish a carbon, for instance, or the separation of Trumas Maisros. These are Heilin Gufei Torah. These are the crucial. These are very significant elements of Torah. They're critical. Nevertheless, v'nim sulam ya'aretz, the Torah handed it over, trusted even the unlearned people with these halachas. Explains Rashi, we find that a person can go eat by the Yam Ha'aretz. He doesn't have to be concerned that perhaps its tevel, truma masa, wasn't removed. He can eat his food. He doesn't have to be concerned that it's a korban, that there was hegdesh. So you see that the Torah grants ne'emanos, trusts even in Am Ha'aretz on these halachas, that he'll be mafresh to Mr. Meisers. The Torah grants him the ability to make kachim, to make a korban, and trust him that he's not going to feed hegdish to a person. Rashi points out, of course, this is minat Torah, midrabanan. However, they added a gzera and takana of Dmai. If a person purchases produce from Am Ha'aretz, he needs to do some Tumas Meisers, but that's a din d'Rabbanan. Minat Torah, we find that the Torah indeed trusts any Yid, any Am Ha'aretz, with these halachas. Continues the Gemara, Tanya Rabbi Nassan Omer, ba'avoy nedarim, due to the sin of nedarim, when one makes a vow and he doesn't fulfill the vow, he doesn't keep his word. Meisa isha shaladam. One's wife dies. Shenemar im einach l'shalem. If you have not funds to pay and to keep your word, fulfill your vow. Lama yikach mishkavchem tachtecha. Why will he take away? Why does he need to take away your mishkav from underneath you, referring to your wife? Rabbi Omer bavoy nedarim bana mesim kshem tanim. One's children, one's young children will die. Shenemar al titin espicha lachtis sarecha. Don't allow your mouth to attach guilt to your children, to your flesh. Don't excuse yourself in front of the malach. This is the gizber, the emissary of Hegdish, who's coming to collect the neder that you promised. Don't tell him, Kishgagahi, it was a shgaga, it was inadvertent, I didn't really mean to make the neder. Why should Hashem get angry on account of your voice, on account of your unfulfilled neder? And he will destroy your handiwork. What is the Masi Yadayim of a person? Banov of Bnois of Shaladam. One's children, it's one's handiwork. He toiled to raise them, to feed them. These are his Masi Yadayim, and we see that the chet will be attached to them as a result of the Nedarim that he's not fulfilling. Tan Rabbanon, Bavoy Nedarim, Bonim Mesim, Diver Blazer Shim, Rabbi Danasi Aimer, Bavoy Bitul Torah, on account of Bitul Torah. Says in Rabbi Shlomo, we understand the Amar Bavoy Nedarim K'Damaron. We understand his source, as we mentioned in the pasuk before, seems to indicate that the Bonim Mesim, on account of the chet of Nedarim. But according to the other sheet of Rabbi Danasi, who says, Micro, what is the source for that? The Chsiv, as it says, Lashavi Kesi Spinechem. Lashavi Kesi, is it for naught, for nothing, that I have struck your sons? Musar Lakachu. It's not for no reason. It was because Musar Torah you haven't taken, you haven't learned Torah. It is due to the neglect of Torah. Rav Nachman Yitzchak Amar, Leman Da'amar B'avay Nedarim, Nami Mihacha. We can explain even the Shita who says that Banar HaMesim on account of the Oven Nedarim from this pasuk as well. Lashavi Kesi Espinechem Al Iskei Shav. Indeed, I've struck your children as a result of Iskei Shav, matters of falsehood, matters of false Nedarim. Okay, so we have two Shitas. Rabbi Shimon says that Banar HaMesim Avay Nedarim. Rabbi Danasi says V'Avoyin Bitul Torah. Says Rav Michti, let's take a look. Who's Rabbi Danasi? Rabbi Danasi, Hani Rebbe. It's one and the same person. Rebbe is Rabbi Danasi. So here Rabbi Danasi is saying, B'Avoyin Bitul Torah. But if we take a look back up at the Amud, the third line, Rebbe Omer, B'Avoyin Nedarim Banim Mesim. So here he's saying, B'Avoyin Bitul Torah. Earlier we learned the name of Rebbe is B'Avoyin Nedarim. It's a contradiction. Once again, Michti Rabbi Danasi, Hani Rebbe. It's the same person. Rebbe B'Avoyin Nedarim Kamar. He's told us that Banim die on account of Nedarim. Says the Gemara, Basar Deshama, but Rabbi Lezer of Shimon, after he heard Rabbi Lezer of Shimon's account, Rabbi Lezer of Shimon's opinion, that Banim HaMesim B'Avoyin Nedarim, at that point he acquiesced and he accepted it from him. So initially Rabbi Danasi said, the reason is B'Avoyin Bitul Torah. But after he heard Rabbi Lezer saying in the name of his father, Rabbi Lezer was the son of Rabbi Shimon, and he quoted his father, Rabbi Shimon, who was actually the teacher of Rebbe. And he quoted him saying that it is due to Avoyin Nedarim. Rebbe accepted and followed that. So the Brisa stated earlier on the page, Rebbe saying Avoyin Nedarim, was actually stated after this Brisa. That was the final conclusion of Rebbe. Continues the Gemara, indeed we have a Machlokes Amoraim in this regard. What brings about that Banim HaMesim? Pligiba, Rav Chia bar Abba, Rav Yossi. Chad Amar once says, B'Avoyin Mezuzah, due to the chet of Mezuzah, neglecting the mitzvah of Mezuzah. Chad Amar B'Avoyin Bitul Torah. Says the Gemara, Laman Amar B'Avoyin Mezuzah. What is his source? Because Mikra, the pasuk at the end of the second parasha of Krishma, it says, so we have there Torah, Matam Espinechem, and then Uchsavtam Al Mezuzah Espesecha. We have Mezuzah. Finally, Laman Yirbu Yomechem Me'Benechem. This brings about the lengthening your days and the days of your children. So what is the cause for the Arichas Yom of children? Which implies that if that cause is neglected, it can bring an opposite result, shortening the days of the children. So what is that referring to? What does that apply to? So one Mandamar holds, Mikra, the pasuk of Alman Yibri Mechem, which implies that neglecting something will bring about that Bonam HaMesim. It is applied Nidrish Lefanav, it is expounded, it is applied to the pasuk right beforehand, immediately preceding it, which is the pasuk of Mezuzah. But it's not meant to be applied to the pasuk preceding that, which is Torah. So, Bonam HaMesim on account of a neglect of Mezuzah. According to the other Shita who says that Bonam HaMesim on account of B'tel Torah, he holds that this pasuk Mikra Nidrish Lefanav, it is applied to the preceding pasuk of Uchsavtam al Mezuzah Beisecha V'Sharecha. So you know that the neglect of Mezuzah brings about this Einish of Bonam HaMesim, and also it is Nidrish Lifnei Fanav, to the pasuk preceding that as well, which is Torah. So indeed, according to this Shita, Bonam HaMesim on account of two avenis, neglect of B'tel Torah, and also on account of neglect of Mezuzah. So once again, we have Machlekes. One holds that Bonam HaMesim strictly as a result of Avodah Mezuzah. The other one says one of the two, either Avodah Mezuzah or B'tel Torah. Continues the Gemara, we actually have a Machlekes Tanaim in this regard. What is the cause of Bonam HaMesim? Pligi bar Rav Meir Rav Yehuda. Chadam Avodah Mezuzah. V'chadam Avodah Tzitzis, on account of neglect of the mitzvah tzitzis. Says the Gemara, Bishleim Lamandam Avodah Mezuzah. So it's all well, we understand that Shita, as we just said, Chsiv, Uchsavtam al Mezuzahs Beisecha V'Sharecha. You meant to have the mezuzahs, and immediately afterwards it says in the next pasuk, Chsiv Asrei L'man Yibru Yemechem Ebenechem. So we see that neglecting mezuzah brings about the opposite effect of prolonging the life of your children. Elo L'man Da'amar Vain Tzitzis. One who attributes it to the neglect of tzitzis, my time. What is his reason? What is that source? Amar Rav Kana v'Tem Rav Shila Mori. The Chsiv from the following pasuk. Gam beknafecha nimtzu dam nefashis of yonim nekim. So we make a drasha gam beknafecha. These are the corners on account of neglecting the mitzvah related and associated with corners. That's the mitzvah of tzitzis. Nimtzu dam nefashis of yonim nekim. So on account of that, it was found by you, attributed to you, the death of the nefashis of yonim nekim. Of yonim nekim are the young children who are clean of mitzvahs, of averis. The banim ketanim will suffer as a result of the father's misdeeds. So now we know, although that generally a child can't incur punishment as a result of a parent's misdeed, banim lo yumsal aves. Apparently, this Gemara is indicating to us that banim ketanim are different. When they're young, they're still considered to be part of the father's entity, and indeed his averis can affect him as well. An interesting thesis here that seems to imply that the avoid tzitzis that we're discussing here is when a person neglects to wear a four-cornered garment. So we're not speaking about he has a four-cornered garment and neglects to put on tzitzis. Not only that, even if he neglects to wear a four-cornered garment, that also is included that's considered to be avoid tzitzis, neglect of tzitzis. However, Taisus says that is only in their times when it was their derech, was their custom to wear these types of garments. So when one neglects to wear a four-cornered garment in order to absolve himself, exempt himself from this obligation, that's considered to be neglecting the mitzvah. This brings a riot from the Gemara Menachos to that effect. But now says it is not the common practice to wear four-cornered garments. There's no obligation to go buy it. But Taisus concludes, it's good. It is advisable to actually go out and buy tzitzis, and to make a bracha on the tzitzis on a daily basis. Taisus brings a Gemara and Saita regarding Moshe Rabbeinu, who wanted so desperately to get to Eretz Yisrael. And the Gemara asks, why was he so desperate? They need to eat the fruit of Eretz Yisrael. Is that why he needed to go to Eretz Yisrael? That was his motivation. Says the Gemara, Moshe said as follows, mitzvah, shuchal ekayim yiskayim al yadi. I want to go into Eretz Yisrael to do the mitzvahs of Eretz Yisrael. So we see that one is meant to seek to do mitzvahs. One is meant to go buy a beggar of tzitzis in order to fulfill the mitzvah tzitzis, even if he's not really obligated to do it. Okay, continues the Gemara. So let's just recap again. We had a machlokes, Meir Rav Yehuda. What is the cause for Bonam HaMesim? So one says Vavoin Mezuzah, one says Vavoin Tzitzis, and the Gemara brought the pasuk of V'gam b'knafecha as a source for the shita of tzitzis. Continues the Gemara of Nachmar Yitzchak Omar, L'man de'amar v'ay mezuzah. Even the shita says that the cause is neglect of mezuzah, nami mehacha. It can only also be derived from the same pasuk of V'gam b'knafecha, because the conclusion of that pasuk is as follows: Tichsiv loy machteres mitzasim, which indicates that there's no mezuzah. She'asu psacham k'machteres. They made the doorways look like the machteres, like the tunnels, which have no mezuzahs. So, why doesn't a machteres have a mezuzah? Because a t'nai, a precondition for the obligation of mezuzah is that the doorway needs to have pesimin, needs to have doorposts, needs to be shaped like a doorway. So, machteres is really a tunnel. A hole doesn't have the doorpost and doesn't have the chiv mezuzah. So the pasuk is bemoaning the fact that Klal Yisrael did not have mezuzahs on their doors. Now, according to Tosfos Pshat, that even when not one finds a roundabout way to absolve himself, to get around the chiv, that too is considered to be neglecting the mitzvah. It would appear at this case as well as speaking that in a case where they actually formed and shaped their doorways in a manner where no chiyuv, there was no obligation to fix a mezuzah on that door. It was shaped in a way of a machteres. It contained no doorposts. So although there was no chiyuv, because it didn't look like a doorway, nevertheless that too is considered to be a neglect of mitzvahs mezuzah. Because why did you design your doorway in this manner which absolves you from the mezuzah? Why don't you do it like everybody else with the Tzuras HaPesach? Apparently you're trying to avoid the mitzvahs mezuzah. That's considered to be neglecting the mitzvah mezuzah. Continues the Gemara, on the flip side of things, on the positive side, Omer Shlokish, Kol Azor mitzvah tzitzis, one who is meticulous, is careful with tzitzis, Zoiche he merits, or Misham Shem Loi, he will have a large number of servants, La'asad Lavai, in the future, Misham Shem Loi Beis Alofim, V'ches Meis Avodim, 2,800 servants. Shenemar, as it says, Kayam Hashem Tzvakos, B'yom Mahema, in those days, in the future days, Asher Yachziku Asar Anoshim. So 10 people will grab on, 10 people Mekol L'Shonos Hagayim. 10 of all the L'Shonos. There are 70 languages, 70 nations. So 10 of each nation will grab on, V'yachziku B'knaf Yid, will grab on to one corner of the garment of a Yid. Leimar, to say, let's go, let's come along with you, let's accompany you. We've heard that Hashem is with you. So Rashi explains, we have 10 from each nation, so it's 10 times 70, and that is applied to each corner. So the pasuk indicates that a person who is careful with the mitzvah of tzitzis, which is kanaf, which is associated with the corner of the beged, on account of that, and the schus of that, he'll be zeichet to have 700 servants for each corner, for a total of 2,800. Continues the Gemara, Tanya Rechem due to the avera of baseless hatred to one's fellow Jew, quarreling, fighting will increase within the home of a person. His wife miscarries, delivers stillborn children, and his children die young. Rashi explains, this is a midah keneged midah, measure for measure, on account of him exchanging love for hatred. And as a result of his minimizing the love to his fellow Jew, the ava, the love within his home will be diminished as well. His children will die. The machlekes will increase. The love, the ava in his home will diminish. He will not have it ava to his children because they will mace him. Continues the Gemara, due to the chet of chala, when a person neglects removing the portion of dough for the kohen, as a result, ein bracha b'mechunas. Blessing will not rest on the stored, Rashi says, the store homes of the yain v'shemen. U'me'er mishtalachas b'sha'orim, as a result of the lack of blessing, me'er, a curse will descend on the prices. The prices will go up. V'zorim zroim, and they plant seeds, v'acherim oichlim, and others goyim will eat the produce. Shenemar af ani esa zois lachem. This is a pasuk in the Teichacha. V'ivgadti alechem behala v'esa shachefes v'sakadachas mechal senayim divas novesh v'zeratim l'rik zarachem. You will plant your seeds for naught. V'achalu yevechem, and your enemies will eat the produce. The Gemara dashes as follows. How does this apply to challah? Because the pasuk says v'ifgadati aleichem b'hala. So we learn v'ifgadati means I will minimize, I will take away from what you have, I will reduce your supplies. V'ifgadati aleichem b'hala. On account of b'hala, I'll take your b'hala ala b'chala. So we exchange the hay for a ches. And we read it as follows: v'ifgadati aleichem, I will reduce your stores, your oitzres, your storehomes of produce, as a result of a neglect of b'chala, of not fulfilling the mitzvah of challah properly. But if indeed they do give their challah properly, what is the result? Misbarchen, they will have experience bracha. Shanamar v'reish seichem, the first of your dough titn l'kohen, give to the kohen, la'aniach bracha al beisecha, in order to have bracha descend on your home. Continues the Gemara about voin bittul trumas u'maisrus. Due to the avera of neglecting giving trumas u'maisrus, shamayim ne'etzorim, the heavens will be prevented, will be closed up, milohirit tal matar, from bringing down, from emitting the tal, the dew, and matar, in the rain. And as a result of that, as a result of a lack of rain, vayoker hoive, things will be expensive. Yoker will be prevalent. V'aschar ava, there will be little profit to be made. People will be running after their livelihood. They might give, they will not attain it. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, Tzia gam chaim yigzelu me'misheleg she'oil chato. So the Gemara dashes as follows: my mashma. How do we see it from this pasuk? Tanat very small. So the pasuk begins with Tzia gam chaim, and we dash as follows: Tzia is lashon tzivoy, on account of my commandment that's being neglected. On account of the tzivoy that I've commanded you to fulfill b'may sacham in the summertime when they give the trumas and maisos. And you haven't adhered to that. You haven't listened to that commandment. As a result of not listening to my following through with the trumas and maisos, it will be stolen from you. They will steal from you. The water of snow, meaning the rains, in the winter time. On the other hand, if they do give their trumas and maisos properly, misbarchen, they will incur bracha. Shenemar haviu es kol hamaser el beis ha'oitzer. So bring the meiser into the storeroom, v'hi teref bevesi, and this will result in food being in my home. There will be food in my home for the kehanim and the levim. This is Hashem speaking. So haviu es kol hamaser beis ha'oitzer, bring the meiser to the storehouse, and as a result there will be enough food in my home for the kehanim and the levim. And Hashem is telling us, test me, please test me in this matter. If as a result of you fulfilling your obligation of being generous, giving your trumas and maisos to the kohen and the levi, test me, see whether or not I'm going to fulfill and bring about my schar to you, my promise to you. If I will not open for you, the windows of heaven, and I will pour forth for you the bracha, blessing, ad b'lidai, without limit. Says my ad b'lidai, what does this mean, ad b'lidai? Amar Rami Barav, Amarav. Ad, there will be so much blessing, there will be an abundance, that it'll be too much. Your lips will wear out. Yivlu, they will wear out your lips. Miloimar die from saying enough. You'll say enough. You'll protest. It'll be too much for you to tolerate. So Hashem's telling us on account of trumas and maisos being performed properly, I will pour on you an endless, limitless amount of bracha. So in summary, let's take a quick chazor of today's blot. We began with the Mishnah, which tells us that there are three concepts, three averis. Nida chalad lakas haner, which is specifically related to women, and on account of those averis, they are inspected and tested from heaven during their precarious moment of childbirth. Al shalosh averis nashamesha misasek dasan. The Gemara tells us that these three things correspond to our very existence. If we maintain, if we're careful, with these obligations, Hashem maintains our life. Otherwise, Hareini noitel nishmaschem. The Gemara proceeds and tells us regarding men as well. They are tested and inspected when they experience a shasakana, going on a bridge, on the road. At that point, the mishpat is applied to them as well. The Gemara tells us when one finds himself in a makam sakana, that is considered to be an indication of mishpat, and he needs praklit, advocates to come protect him. What should he do? He should take it very seriously, involve himself in tshuva and masim tovim to merit the divine protection. Gemara tells us that due to the avain or nedarim, unfulfilled promises and vows, ishtay mesa, the Gemara tells us that banam amesim, on account of, there are different shittas. Some say b'avain nedarim, b'avain mezuzah, b'tel Torah, or neglect of tzitzis. Gemara tells us that on account of sinas chinam, there's meriva beveisei shaladam, his children die, his wife miscarries. The Gemara tells us b'avain chala, when chala is neglected, there's no bracha, things are expensive, etc. However, on the flip side, if they do give the chala properly, they receive bracha. Similar thing regarding Trumas and Maestris. B'avain Truma, there's no rain, things are expensive, it's hard to attain livelihood, etc. On the flip side, if they do indeed follow through and they give the Trumas and Maestris properly, Hashem promises, I will pour forth for you bracha ad bilidai, without limit. You will protest and say enough, enough. Your lips will wear out. Miloimar dai.